You've got a fish right there. You got him. Go ahead and just wind it back real slow. He's on it. I know you got it. 2, 1, bite. Keep it coming steady. They'll hit it. I don't see how you can't catch one right there. Did he bite it? He's got it.
Got one right there.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for joining us today on that Carolina Outdoor Journal. Crappie, crappie, whichever you prefer, we're going to fish for them in the summertime.
That's right. It's a little different than what we've done in the past. Usually it's the springtime, and we've done some in the fall and winter too. Summertime, a little different, same type of fishing, although we do actually change up the technique a little bit this time. Instead of jigging for them, we're casting over structure. That day we had to deal with wind. A lot of times, you know, your favorite fishing hole, you may have to adapt, and we had to do that day because of the wind direction. We couldn't fish some of the spots that Joel Richardson, who's with us today, wanted to fish, but still had a fun day on the water, caught some fish.
Good information today in gear time, I'm sure.
Right. We'll go back, and we're using real light tackle, 4-pound test, little 6-foot TFO, real ultralight rods. Lots of fun with them, and they'll talk to us about the jigs they use too.
And our recipe today has to do with catfish.
Yeah, this is a new recipe from Donna using spinach and catfish, which we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
You've got that look. Let's go fishing on the Carolina Outdoor Journal.
Neil, you know, today's going to be a really good day for crappie fishing on Buggs Island. This year, we've had a really good crappie spawn. We've got a lot of fish in the lake. They're running a little larger than normal for hot weather. You know, we're here in about first half of July. They're running a little larger than normal, and the fish are hanging real tight to structure like brush piles and pilings. And these fish are running around a ½ pound to a pound, and they're just really loaded up. And they're only in like 10 feet of water, which is really surprising because this time of year, normally I'm catching them out in 20, 25 feet of water. I don't know why they're so shallow, but it sure has been a good bite.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, Joe, because this is the first time I've been in the summertime, actually in July, fishing for crappie. Most people think about crappie fishing early spring or in the fall, and I'm looking forward to this. And by the way, we're going to make the bet on the first fish for $1.
Yes, sir. We'll do that.
$1 for the first fish and $1 for the most fish, correct?
You know I'm going to get that first fish.
Well, we always start off that way.
Okay, well,
let's get the biggest one.
Okay, well, we'll be even on our $1.
We're going to have to fish for this big fish now.
Well, let's get up here on this brush and see if we can catch them. They seem to be in about 12 feet. The brush is in about 12 to 15 feet of water, and the fish are suspended down in the tops, 6 to 8 feet down.
Right.
So we're going to do a slow count, like a 5 count, and just wind back slow. We'll get these fish. Feels like a pretty good one here, Neil.
That's a good way to get the day started.
Oh, yeah.
That is a nice crappie.
Yeah, that's good eating size crappie.
Excellent. Good job.
He bit that little crappie jig, that blue and chartreuse. Now that's something you can expect on Buggs Island. There's just many of this size, which is just eating size, and there are some fish in here that'll go up to 4 pounds. They've been caught.
And you got that on like 3 or 4 casts right around. When you got to the brush pile, that's about the 3 or 4 casts you made around that and caught that fish.
That's right.
That's a good sign too, isn't it?
That is.
Well, that's what I'm ready for. Well, I guess it's left up to me to get the biggest one there. You got the first
I got that $1.
You got that $1. I'm gonna get the biggest one.
You know, Neil, I believe the weatherman has missed the forecast a little bit today. The wind is really blowing. It's making it kind of hard to fish here on this place. I'm going to move us to another area right over here that's going to be a little more protected,
Right.
kind of in the same depth and the same type of structure, and maybe getting out of that wind will really help us.
I think it'd be a good idea because I know it's starting to white cap right where we're in. It's hard to hold on to the fish, especially when you got that kind of wind.
Yeah, and I've had a few bites, and I can't really feel what's going on. It's blowing me around.
Joel and I moved, we made. I know we left the last spot and we moved to this one. What's the difference between this location and the last location we just fished from?
Well, we've moved to a little more protected area, which we don't have but about half as much wind now. It's not a lot different from the other spot. We're still fishing the underwater brush in about 12 or 13 feet of water. It might be a little bit deeper there.
Right.
There's a lot more brush on this place, and I'm seeing a lot of bait fish on my electronics, so that's really a big plus. I mean, finding bait fish around your brush or where you're fishing is always a plus, because you need to have shad or food around to catch these fish. Oh yeah, it's a keeper size anyway. Not as big as he felt, but that's about the size I keep that size and up. Not very big. We'll let him grow up a little bit. I've got a bite every cast.
Well, you know what? There's got to be a pawpaw out there for me somewhere. I'm going to catch him.
Yeah, I'm going to throw behind us and catch him. I sure
That's
done
where
it.
pawpaw's at behind us.
I sure done it. That'll catch one right there. 5, 4,
I tell you, Joel, I'm just
3,
counting down and cranking about
2,
medium speed.
1. You're cranking pretty slow. Oh, I had a strike. Got a fish. Feels like a big one. Woo! Sometimes they fight. Oh, it's a good one, Neil.
Good deal.
That's a nice crappie. I guess that would be called a white crappie.
Yeah.
We have some black crappie in this lake, but I see more of these white ones. And they've catch them out of here up to 4 pounds. I've seen a couple of 4-pounders caught this spring.
Yeah. Well, that color, is that a good sign of good health and the condition is good for the fish? And
Yeah, and you know, you see a little belly on a fish. If they're not a lot of food, or they're not getting a lot of food, they're just like any other animal. They're going to get skinnier. You see a belly on these.
Right.
You think, well, they're going to spawn maybe, but they're just full of shad.
that's where they're just feeding real good and got a good food supply.
Good food supply. Ooh, I believe that's a better crappie there.
It's like a little bit better.
It is a little better crappie.
He's fighting a bit better anyway.
Yeah. There is
That's
is a school of bait fish in there as big as this boat right on the surface, Neil. Did you see that big dark area there?
That's where I'm casting to.
That's where he came from. That is a great sign. You've got a fish right there. You got him. Go ahead and just wind it back real slow. He's on it. I know you got
Well,
it.
I'm waiting on
2, 1, bite. Keep it coming steady. They'll hit it. I don't see how you can't catch one right there.
Not me either.
Did he bite it? He's got it.
Got one right there.
Oh yeah. Is it a big one?
Nah.
Mm,
Yeah.
keeper size.
Keeper size.
Keeper size.
But I just love the colors in fish. I'm just really impressed with the color, the health they are in, and good shape.
Got me one. They all feel good on this little TFO rod. I believe I got a good one. Oh yeah, that's a nice good one.
He's a better size fish.
Yeah, better size crappie there.
Wow, that's a little better.
Now we have been catching a lot of fish in this size range, and that is a good crappie right there, Neil. You know, it's not uncommon on this lake, if you find a good school of crappie, you could catch 75, 100, 150 of them out of one place.
Well,
And there's lots of fish this size in the lake this year.
you know, when you first pulled in here, we had this angle with the wind and towards the buoy. We went around that buoy. I got one.
You know, it's funny how the correct angle will get you more bites.
Yeah.
It's got something to do with the wind and the bait fish, Neil. Do you
a
got
fighter.
a big one? Is it a big one?
No, it's not a big one, but he's fighting. Look at
Wow.
him
Wow, he's
go. Got
pulling
that
your
rod tip
drag.
bent down good.
I believe you got a good one. Oh, that's a nice crappie. Look at you.
Yeah, man.
Let's see that. You caught that on black and blue.
I did, Joel. Seems like that's predominant color right now for these crappie.
Yeah, you know, my jig's got blue in it too. Maybe blue's a good thing. A good thing in the hot weather, always for bass fishing's blue, so I thought I'd try it for crappie, and it's working.
I want to tell you something, how hard he bit that. You see how hard his hook coming out? He won't let it go. Look at that. That's unusual for crappie to bite that hard, but he inhaled that jig.
That is a pretty one.
You know, I think chartreuse tail might add something to that too.
Well, you know, we've caught bluegill, and every time we catch them, they're all chartreusey, so maybe we got the right combination here.
You think they're trying to, you got some hatch in here, got a little chartreuse to it that the fish are feeding on? Or?
Well, we've got kind of a stained water. You know how the chartreuse always seems to be a good color in stained water? Maybe that's helping us out.
Yeah.
More visibility. I didn't do as good on the other color. Come in slow with him.
Yeah, I got him right here. Lift that rod up on there.
Oh, yes. Nice. Nice fish, Neil.
He's close to being a jumbo, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter where you go, that's a good crappie anywhere you go right there.
I noticed that we're catching a little bit bigger quality of crappie now since it's about midday.
A lot of times I see that, you know, your smaller fish will feed heavy early and your bigger fish won't feed with them, and the sun gets brighter, fish go tighter to the brush, and you catch the bigger ones. I've seen that a lot of times.
So you think that's the biggest fish today right there?
It won't be in a minute.
Well, I'm just thinking about that $1.
Oh, well, I'll give you that for a minute.
For right now, then we're even, right? You got the first
Yeah.
fish, I got the biggest one.
Okay, well, it ain't over till the last minute. Okay? All right. How's your jig holding out? Do you
It's
need a
holding
new
out
one?
good. No,
That's
I'm
what I
good.
like about rubber jigs. You catch a lot of fish on one a lot of times, and just keep on casting. You make more casts, you catch more fish. Sometimes.
You know, something else amazing too, how we switched around these jigs. We finally got that right color combination. And we'll get more bites and stronger bites too. They're not just tapping it once in a while.
They're hitting harder.
They're hitting it harder.
They're really thumping it.
Well, you hear that drag go when you bit it?
Yeah, he pulled your drag out. The good one, I heard some drag slipping.
No, I don't believe he is. I think about what we've been catching, about the same size, but it's like you said, just changing the direction in which we were throwing and retrieving the lure back.
Oh, that's a good one, Neil. That's good eating size fish right there. Good one.
Perfect.
Good job.
Blue and chartreuse. That's,
Right.
that's the ticket.
Blue and chartreuse. He's gonna go back and tell the rest of them. Oh
That's a
yeah,
bad
that's a
one
good
right
one
there,
right here.
Look good from the side anyway.
Yeah, he just give up after he come to the surface. That's a good eating size one there. Ooh boy.
Good job.
I believe I'll keep a couple to eat, Neil.
That's the right size right there, Joe. Be a
That's
good
the right
fillet.
size. Good little
Got the live
fillet.
well for you. There's a
Righty.
walleye in there.
Let's catch some more of them.
I'll tell you
That
what,
is
Joe,
a
I got
good
that's got a good
fish.
fish here. It's pulling drag on it.
Yeah, he's
Rod's got a
pulling
good
drag.
bend to it.
I believe you got the big one for today.
look at that.
Oh boy, I
That's a
hope he
nice-
gets off.
No, I can't, because I got to have the big fish.
All right, you got him. You got the big fish so
All
far.
right. Joel, this is about the biggest fish we caught today. It's kind of pushing that size.
Yeah, I guess I'll let you have that $1 on the big fish, because if it isn't the biggest one, you've definitely caught one a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
That is a nice one, though.
I know we're in the summer months right now. We're in the first week of July. The water temperature is probably in 80 degrees and the air temperature is 89 to 90. What's the difference in the fishing conditions you would expect this time of year than would in the spring or in the fall?
Well, normally in the spring or colder water months like fall, you know, I catch larger fish, and they'll be in shallower water, like in the back end of the creeks, just out in the flats, Neil. But this time of year, you know, your bait fish have spawned, your crappie have spawned, all the fish have pretty much spawned, and they all come out here to these channels in a little bit deeper water. It could be anywhere from 10 feet to 25 feet, and they gang up around all the shad schools.
Right.
And this year, it seemed like the shad is staying a little bit shallower than they typically would be this time of year. So the fish are in about 6 to 10 feet of water out here on brush piles and stumps and rock piles, things like that around these channels.
Right. That wind
Man,
gust is pretty good here, Joel. We got one that's pretty decent size, I believe.
Yeah, that is a good size one, Neil. I want to eat that size.
Well, I tell you, we're going to give him a live well just for you. Look at that.
That's
right
right, right there. Good fish. Man, the
See
wind
that
is
rod
getting
bend?
up.
That was a good catch.
Yeah, was he? Did he bite it lightly or just?
He bit it, he just mouthed it, Joel. He didn't hit it hard. You know, I had a lot of bow in my line because the wind was blowing. And that rod right there, that one I'm using right there, is sensitive enough where I can feel that bite, even though I had that bow in my line.
Yeah, you felt the bite even with the bow in the line.
And the hook set was gentle. I just pulled back on it and got a good hook in the fish. And looks like you're gonna have some crappie for dinner tonight.
Joe, the wind was an issue that day.
Well, it was in the fact that we couldn't reach some of the areas that Joel wanted to fish. He's got a number of places he guides up there, and so he's got areas all over the lake that he likes to frequent for crappie, and we just couldn't reach some of the better spots that he'd had earlier in the week, and but we did manage to fish some of the good spots, and we caught some fish, and again, that technique of casting over the structure and bringing it back slowly proved to be very effective that day. They actually tried jigging a little bit, but I think casting and a slow retrieve that day just worked for us.
All right, let's go to Gear Time and learn more.
Joel had a great time today. You know, the fish condition wasn't really what we expected. You know, we had a lot of wind there that was not called for. I don't believe seeing a forecast no high wind like we had today because it was white capping out there. But we caught crappie, and I appreciate you giving me a good time today, and I enjoyed it and had a great time with you. Every time we go fishing, even the weather conditions is tough, we always catch fish, and that's due to your knowledge of the lake and what to do.
Well, you know, if we fish hard and don't give up, that's a big plus. I learned that early, but yeah, it was a lot of wind for mid-July, a lot of wind. It's not typical. And fishing offshore like we were fishing today, it makes it tough with these little light baits that we're using, like a 1/16 ounce little jig head and little 2-inch grub on there. And you know, it really made a difference today. We noticed, we don't always notice this, because usually if they're biting good, they'll bite about anything, these crappie. But today they wanted something blue and chartreuse, or like you have black and blue and chartreuse, and they really wanted a slow retrieve. We had to keep that bait down, and that was the problem with the wind.
Right.
You know, I don't think the wind messes up the fishing. I actually believe it helps fishing a lot. But when you've got this light line and these little jigs like this, 15, 20 mile an hour wind, it is just so hard to keep that bait down in the strike zone, because that is very critical that you get that bait down to them fish.
Exactly.
And a slow, steady retrieve. You know, a lot of casts we made, we had 3 to 5 feet of bow in the line, and by the time we realized we had a bite, maybe the fish had let go of it.
Exactly. And that's what I found out about this color right here, this black, blue, and chartreuse is what worked for me. And a lot of people get hung up on a jig when it's got dual colors like that. And what I found for me it works is whenever I hook a jig, that always keep the curl up.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people try to put the blue on the bottom and the black on the bottom, but I always follow the curl with a hook. Is that what you do?
Yeah, always. The tail, that tail needs to be turned the same way the hook is, and it won't twist your line. And that tail acts like a keel because of the lowest part of it's down on the bottom. And if your line is twisted up, you never catch as many fish. You can't even feel a strike because it's like a spring. So that is a very good tip for the viewers out there to always rig that. No matter if it's a big grub or a small grub, you want to have that tail turned just like that hook. And you know, your lure runs straighter.
Right.
It's a big plus. I always do that too.
Well, you know, you talk about that bow in the line. You know, when I was casting, I had that big bow in my line. This is the first time I used this rod in this outfit. This Temple Fork Outfitters rod right here was very sensitive for me, is that when I got that tap or that thump on my jig, even though I had that bow in my line, I could feel it. It gives me a chance to load up the fish and get the slack out of the line. And you didn't even have to have a hook set. And the bite was so slow and sluggish. But I contributed a lot of my fish I caught today with, you know, the lure, but also the rod just for the sensitivity it has.
Yes, and I always believed in crappie fishing. You know, I never use heavier than 6-pound tests. We were using 4-pound tests today, ultralight action 6-foot rods, and a slow retrieve.
Right.
Light line. I think light line is very critical.
And I'll tell you what I like today. We cast, and we did no vertical jigging. And that's a technique I haven't done. And I learned that from you today, and I learned how good it can be.
Yeah, casting, you see a lot of fishermen fishing vertical, straight down over top of the fish, but you know, crappie in hot weather, I've always found that they really bite it, if you're casting and retrieving, because they tend to suspend a little bit, and you're covering that suspended water column a lot better. I sure enjoyed the day, Neil.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you, Joel.
Joel, thanks for that. Here's Joel's phone number if you want to give him a call, and we hope that you learned something during that gear time there. Speaking of learning things, you might want to write this recipe down. We'll join Donna now. She's got a recipe for catfish and spinach.
Today in the kitchen, we're making a catfish spinach gratin. Quick and easy. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna make our own cream sauce. It's like a cheese sauce for this. We have our butter melting in our pan. We're gonna add in our flour and give this a stir until it is all combined. Then we're gonna gradually add in our milk, or you can use a cream if you'd like. And we're gonna let that simmer for just a few minutes until it begins to thicken. So while this is thickening, let's go ahead and we'll prepare our baking dish. We're gonna take our baking dish and we're gonna take some fresh spinach and line our baking dish. And you can also use frozen spinach if you like, if that's what you have in your house or that's what your family likes. Just make sure that you thaw it and drain it really well. Otherwise it'll be a little too watery in here. So we're just gonna fill this up and it will cook down. Then we're gonna take our catfish fillets and we're gonna place those in our pan. We're gonna salt and pepper those real quickly. And then we're ready to pour our sauce over. So we have our sauce, we're gonna add our Gruyere cheese to it and some creme fraiche. So this is gonna be a really creamy, really tasty sauce. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. So we're just going to give that a stir. We're gonna pour that over the top of our fish. And we're gonna bake this at 350 for about 10 or 15 minutes until your fish is completely cooked through. And then if you'd like, you can also put it underneath the broiler for about 5 minutes to brown it up on the top if you want. You can add a little more cheese to that too on the top if you'd like. So this is what it looks like when it's done. We served it with some lemon wedges. It's a great, quick and easy dinner for you and your family, but it's something a little bit tastier and a little bit different than your normal just baked fish. So I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing you next time here on Simple Cooking.
I do enjoy catfish. Thanks a bunch, Donna. Let's go back and talk about the fish. Joe, little wind, but it turned out to be a good day.
Right, and the benefit of having a number of different locations proved that day to be prudent to have that. And of course, he guides on the lake, so he knows a lot of different areas. So we were able to work around the wind issue. And the days, the crappie we caught today were decent, keeper size crappie. Here in recent years, Kerr Lake has really been showing some really nice crappie. And in fact, Joel mentioned he's seen some up close to 4 pounds caught, and I've been hearing a lot of good reports. We didn't find any of that day, and a couple of the places we could not reach that day because of the wind held the bigger fish that he was hoping to reach. But a good class of fish today. We had lots of fun. That lake's, like I said, full of crappie, and if you've never tried crappie fishing, they're great on the table. Give Joel a call. He'll put you on them.
Having a guide will make the difference, you think?
On the lake that size, absolutely.
All right. For Joe Albee, I'm John Moore. We do thank you so much for joining us today on the Carolina Outdoor Journal.
Make sure to visit our website for more information and a link to our online store, Anglers Bay.